so sorry for being late. I I don't have a good excuse. I was over on Instagram hyping up the show, getting ready for this show, and did a 10-minute sketch show on Instagram, and man, it got the time got tight. So I really apologize that I am late. Thank you for sticking around, though. I appreciate that. Got a new gooseneck clamp here, and I'm trying to readjust it. Is that better? That's a little bit better. So are we good? Are we live? Okay. Awesome. Gang, thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Working on Dazzler today. 90s era Dazzler. I also defined some 90s Dazzler reference here. And so since we're going with 90s X-Men, I got to go with this Dazzler here, the kind of the Mojo-verse Dazzler. So because that was kind of her look in the early 90s, and that's kind of what our focus is here on this X-Men piece. So gang, thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate everyone joining me. I appreciate all the support. Make sure, we'll just say this at the top of the show, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and make sure you click on the bell. After you hit subscribe, that little bell that shows up, click on that bell and adjust your notifications so you get notified anytime and every time I fire up a live broadcast or post a new video, so you don't ever miss out. Don't want you to miss out. Always like having you here joining me. Thanks also for all the likes and thumbs up, comments, things like that. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your support. And do be sure you follow me on Instagram. Right now I'm doing a couple of features on my Instagram on a semi-regular, almost daily basis, the 10-minute Q&A and the 10-minute sketch show. So maybe I'll start doing those here on YouTube, the 10-minute sketch shows at the very least, if I start to feel more comfortable doing them on Instagram. It's kind of my beta testing, pilot episodes, I guess I should say. So enough jibba jabba. Feel free to post your question. I'll do my best to answer while I draw. Can't promise I can catch or answer every question, but I'll do the best I can. So, and then hopefully there's time to do a little Q&A at the end of the broadcast. So we got a lot of work to do here on Dazzler today. So let's flip the camera around and get cracking. Yeah. Readjust the camera here. There we go. And now readjust the camera rig, clampy. Clampertons. Let's see, make sure this is in just the right place so I can see comments and questions. All right, so all right. Can you use Bristow technical pens for inking? I'm not familiar with that brand of pen, but I would, give it a try. Does it work for you? Does it achieve what you need? Oh, you know what? I forgot to plug in my my microphone. Please forgive me, gang. Sound might be a little weird here. So let's am I upon this before the start of the show? Whoa! Sorry about that, gang. My sincerest apologies. All right, what is that? We don't want that. There we go. Okay, so sorry. Whoa. All right, this new clamp, be careful where I place it in the rig. Of all days for a exactly, I'm working without a net. Working without a net. Live TV, working without a net. Exactly. Of course, she has not shown up in the studio for who knows how long. All right. So yes, my sincerest apologies for these technical errors. Hopefully these will not happen in future sketch broadcasts. So here we got Dazzler. So what we're going to do is start to rough in, tighten up the details here. Got the basic pose, but I need to figure out where her facial details, things like that, costume details. So I really want to get some of these locked in before I proceed to inks. Get the eyes going on the eye line, nose line, mouth line. Ears kind of fall between the eye and nose. Get the eyebrows going there. Her headband, which is a black headband at this point. She had a red one in the late 80s, but mid to late 80s, but then it switches to black in the 90s. Get the shorter hair. Let's see if I missed any questions. Oh, tons. Well, I include Morph in this one. No, I'm just going with the comic book, the X-Men comic book version. And what pencil am I using? Great question. I am using my Uni Kuratoga mechanical pencil with 0.3 lead. It's a 0.3 lead pencil with, and the pencil softness is HB. Now, you can't use 0.3 lead in any mechanical pencil. Each mechanical pencil has a certain shape. What's the word there? No, reservoir is correct terminology for that. But little holder part. Each pencil is different, so you can't buy 0.3 lead and put it in a 0.5 or a 0.7 and vice versa. You have to have the right sized pencil to hold that lead. So I got this pencil at jetpens.com. The Uni Kuratoga. For longtime viewers, you've probably seen this pencil used in many of my YouTube videos and broadcasts. So I just want to get these details. Diameter, yes, the diameter of the little metal part. What is this little metal part here called? But diameter is a great word in relation to what I'm referring to, but the actual part that the lead comes out of. Tip isn't quite the right term that I want to use, so that's the one I want to say. But let's see. So I've already got much of her body put in here, the body structure I feel comfortable with. So now it's just putting the uniform on top of that. Cylinder, shaft, yeah, those terms would work. Thanks so much for the help, gang. Now I have to consider the way her arm here is raised. How would the collar then fit? So she's got her little choker necklace thing there. Let's see. I guess I haven't really figured out what's going on with this other arm. Oh, you know what? I think part of it got erased when I was erasing the pencils for Bishop. So what I'm going to do is tuck the arm in a little bit. I want to be careful that I don't do a tangent. A tangent would be is if I took this line and it lined up with that part of Bishop's elbow and came down, and it would create this, like this here, would be a tangent. Do y'all see what I'm doing here? This upper part of the arm and the forearm, and how this line comes down, if it lined up perfectly with this part of her forearm, that would be a tangent. That would look weird and bad. So you want to make sure you're always keeping in mind where tangents are or could be, and try to avoid those as much as possible. You don't want things confusing the direction of line and what body parts or elements of the illustration are lining up with other parts. You want to be very mindful of that whenever possible. So I want to position the arms so that none of the lines are exactly lining up. We'll put her other hand right here. She's making a glowing fist with the other hand. Put some Dazzler power here. Let's see. Does she roll up her sleeves with this look? Just double check my reference here. Pardon me, gang. Let's see, similar images. Not really finding anything different. So we will just go with the original. Oops. Lost my image. Where'd my image go? There it is. It's back. So it looks like it bunches up and then is dark through there. So little wrist thing, bunchy upper arm sleeve, and then tight to the forearm bottom part sleeve. So just kind of roughing in where the shadows would be of the leather. Let's see, she's got the Dazzler star on this side. This will be going to color, and a lot of people ask, will this be in color? I do plan on taking this to Copic color, and some of these lighting effects that Dazzler would have will come in the color stage. In fact, I should have my colored microns for inking the line art for some of these Dazzler power effects, and we'll be doing that much like we did how we used different like I used light blue here for Iceman, or used blue here to create an more icy sort of look, and then I used different colors here for Jubilee's sparks for when I go into colors. I'll be doing the same for Dazzler's power signatures. That's the word I'm looking for, power signatures over here. And then we got this other belt, the X-Men buckle, the X buckle. So let's see, check if there are any questions. I'm sure I missed tons of questions. See if we can find a question I can aperture or nib, yes. Other good word terms for little metal part here. In either Marvel or DC. I've worked with a lot of great colorists, absolutely. But the colorists I've been working, I mean, like, I worked with Gabe El-Taib on Invincible Universe for Robert Kirkman, John Roush for Guarding the Globe for Robert Kirkman, Andy Troy on Deadpool Too Soon, I can't pronounce his name, Sharma. I'm going to butcher his name. He called Jim C, who colored the first part of Deadpool Too Soon. But the colorist I work with probably the most, Rochelle Rosenberg. She colored my Nightcrawler series, my Thor one-shot, my Spider-Man Deadpool two-parter, issues 21 and 22. I think she also colored issue 12, the Spider-Man Deadpool issue 12 I did. I think she's colored all my Spider-Man Deadpool stuff. And she colors pretty much all my variant covers. And she is fantastic. I mean, we've worked together so long. She's probably the colorist I work with the most frequently. And I really do enjoy working with her. I mean, I've worked with, like I said, a lot of great colorists. I love them all. But man, the work I get to do with Rochelle has been a lot of fun. And I really am appreciative of all the work that everyone does with the colors over my line art, but Rochelle and I have kicked into a pretty awesome groove with my lines and her art, and we pair up probably the most frequently. So really do love working with Rochelle, and she just recently finished a cover project I did with Marvel. They'll be announcing that hopefully here pretty soon, and she just killed it. She rocked the colors big time. There was so much detail, and she nailed it. She did such an awesome job. I can't wait for y'all to see it. All right, so I think I've pretty much got Dazzler figured out here. We got enough of the pencils in that I can, well, let's make sure we get the mouth there just right, that we can come in with the inks. as all my pens go sliding off my drafting table. So make sure I get all my colored pens ready for the color effects. I'll need these handy, so I have all the different colored microns that I'll be using when it's time to ink her color or her laser light effects. But right now we're going to start with Dazzler herself, Dazzler proper. Let's see, are there any other questions? What's my favorite X-Men design for each of the respective X-Men, like Wolverine, Cyclops, etc.? Wow, that could be a pretty big question. Probably my favorite ones for like Cyclops, Iceman, Angel, Beast, Marvel Girl are the 1980s X Factor uniforms by Walt Simonson. Love those. Colossus, Dazzler, Rogue, characters like that. Probably the Mark Silvestri Australian Outback X-Men are probably some of my favorites. Mainly because they're tied into my youth, and that holds a special time for me. That's when I really started to discover these characters, so their looks at that time probably hold more sentimental or nostalgic value to me. I'm using the 01 black Pigma Micron here at the moment. Love drawing wrinkles and folds of clothing. Takes a lot of study. Like I'll look up like leather jacket, like for men, for women, etc., and then study how do the folds go? Where does the light hit? Where is the shadow? It's a real challenge to draw leather, but or folds of clothes, but it can bring so much realism or believability to your art, even if you have a very stylized style. Just trying to capture. Oh, let's see. Got to plug my charger back in. Almost ran out of juice. Today has just been almost a comedy of errors for this broadcast. Appreciate everyone's support and patience. So just studying clothing can really help get a little more accuracy in how clothing is drawn, or in costume design as well. Kind of grounding it in the real world a little bit more. We're taking the real world and then extrapolating that into design and fantasy. Could be a lot of fun. Got her white t-shirt here. She's a little bit of a shoulder pad in her black leather jacket top here. Get that Dazzler star going. Keeping in mind that the collar folds over it. Any advice for drawing or coloring metal? Yeah, check out my, I'm not doing any metal in this illustration, so I wouldn't be able to advise in this illustration. But be sure to check out my other YouTube videos. I think I have some Colossus ones in here. Characters, just search through my library of videos, find the characters that have metal on them or in them, or they are made up entirely of. And I probably explain far more of my process there than I would be able to here, and it should answer all your questions about metal. So, and there'll be more videos to come where I draw metal characters, and probably when I color Colossus for this piece later on, I'll be explaining more about my metal rendering process at that time. So those videos are to come, or more videos are to come. Should be plenty here on my YouTube channel now. So just so feel free to explore my videos here after after this broadcast, and hopefully you'll find some information that helps you. All right, so let's see. Get down here towards the belt. Let's see, are there any other questions? Have I ever worked with Brian Michael Bendis? No, I have not had an opportunity to draw one of his stories. Um, Not that I can recall, at least. And someone had mentioned the Kitty Pryde movie. Yes, I saw that they had announced that that is in the works. Very excited about that. Kitty Pryde is my favorite X-Man and currently favorite Marvel character as well. Though I love many characters, especially at Marvel, Spider-Man, all sorts of X-Men, Avengers. Kitty Pryde is like my top favorite. One thing about drawing a belt, consider the shape of the person. The waist, the other belt coming down to the hip, how it would curve. And a lot of that has come with study. Study about how belts fit on people. So a lot of this self-study of looking at real life and how do I translate that with my lines. Let's come back, see if there are any other questions. Yeah, oh yeah. What do you do when you just can't be bothered drawing? Like inspire yourself to get, or just to get in the mood. I love to draw, so most of the time I'm always in the mood to draw. Probably the only time I'm not in the mood to draw is when I'm just exhausted and need to rest and eat and take a break from drawing. Like not a long break, just like take some time to just get some sleep or get recharged. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if I have a good answer for just because I've been drawing all my life. I've had a passion for drawing. Rare that I it's so rare that I like have to psych myself up to draw that I really don't have a proper answer for that question. But I appreciate you asking it. I wish I could help you out. What do I think the X-Men put in their belt in question? Um, I would think their car keys. Nowadays, their cell phones. Um, Probably some Band-Aids and Neosporin. That's what I would put in my pouch. Some Band-Aids and Neosporin. Maybe some like trails or granola bars. Something, something to snack on. Maybe a little beef jerky. Keep the energy up while out, fighting evil mutants and sentinels and whatnot. Got to be prepared. You would hope Professor X would have taught his X-Men to be prepared. Not just use their powers, but how to, survive in everyday situations, not just being hunted by or stopping evil mutant terrorists. Or evil alien parasites. Or extra-dimensional counterparts, clones, time-displaced heroes and villains. Just a few of the things X-Men have to deal with. For $30,000, would I wear Wolverine's hairstyle for 8 months? Very interesting. I would consider it, yes. If someone legitimately brought $30,000 and said, you've got to wear X-Men's hair or Wolverine's hairstyle. I mean, I'm already almost there with the sideburns, so I'd definitely consider it. I mean, but I don't know if I could say yes, I definitely would. I'd have to. I could only say would consider it at this time. Would you do his wear his hairstyle for 8 months for $30,000? All right. Now let's start working on this face here. Using the 0.5, the 0.000, let's say that again, the 0.005 micron, the finest tipped micron, at least the finest tipped that I'm aware that they offer, because I really want to make sure these details are clean and tight. Do you ever get muscle cramps in your drawing hand? A little bit. Not really. Yeah, a little bit. Not too much. Not too bad. That's only if I've worked like a 14-hour day. Does my hand start to get sore from just prolonged use? So. Since this figure is so tiny, we're going to give her dark lips. Like the red is so dark, it translates as black. But I want to try to achieve a little bit of a highlight on that bottom lip. You see what I did there? In fact, let's push in a little closer for the facial features. Now for the eyes. So this is a really tiny, I mean, this, you can see there, it's about the size, her face is about the size of my thumbnail, and I don't have a very big thumbnail. So this is a very, very small face we're working on here. So I need the finest sized micron. To keep the details from muddying. If it's too thick, if I was using a 0.8, that would be almost impossible for me to achieve what I want with my lines. Is there a correct posture for holding a pencil? You get wicked muscle cramps. Oftentimes, sometimes I hold it like when I'm writing with a pencil, and then sometimes this is how I learned how to write with a pencil when I was in 7th grade, holding it like this, and I'll switch between my bad form and my proper form, depending on the angle that I need to draw. So right now I'm using bad form, or what I was told was bad form when I was in 1st grade. Like they tried to train this out of me. It never really took, but I did learn how to hold it in a proper way. And then I'll switch over just so I can get the angle that I need. So unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to say if there is a proper art posture for holding one's pencil. All right, let's start getting the hair in. Love drawing the hair. Breaking it up into shapes and then adding lines. So I don't draw every individual hair, but it all pulls down towards the head there. Get a little flow, little curve. And the line weights get a little thinner as we go down towards the hairline. Got this hair that cuts back. It's just so much fun to create flow to hair. But it takes a lot of practice. I also study hair. I love to study hair. I'll look up, like, back before the internet, back in the early 90s when I was young and, trying to gather photo reference. I had to have collections of photo reference for anything I needed to draw. So I had these files filled with magazine pictures. I'd buy hairstyle magazines. Felt kind of weird buying a woman's hairstyle magazine, but there was so much great hair reference and face reference to work from in those magazines. And in fact, I might still even have my old 1990s hair magazines somewhere. Might still have. Might have tossed them now that I can Google image search, and I'll search like for the year. I'll like search women's hairstyles, men's hairstyles, 2017, 2018, just to see what is current. How are the kids wearing their hairs these days? A little bit of cheekbone there. Pop, pop. See, I'm not doing the full line here. The light powers are breaking that up a little bit. Now I want to put in I think I want to try to put in a little bit of an iris in her eyes here. So I really want to pencil that in just enough to see. Want to make sure she doesn't end up cross-eyed if I can help it. Right, here we go. This is like almost like surgery here. So she's kind of looking up. She's doing kind of like a disco move here. Hand raised. There we go. I think we got there. It'll clean up a lot once I erase all the pencil lines. Okay, so next step here is her power effect, her laser light show. So I'm going to grab the right sized micron. We'll start with blue, not the 8. I want the 0.1, just because of the consistency of where she's at. So start with a little burst. Maybe put a little squiggle up here. And we'll reflect that down here as well. Put a big one right here. So when I come into color, this will, with these colored lines, it'll give the effect of a lit up line. Like a power effect. Now pink. Pink will be used a little bit later. We'll get to pink soon here. We'll get some green and red. See, that's the wrong sized. No, that's still the wrong size. Where's my 0.1 green? So we have some green, some red. I only have one red, so I'm forced to use whatever red I have, whatever size that is. And a little bit of brown here for like yellows and oranges. And that should be good. That should be good. Oh, and then I got my pink here. So I got these colors here to use. I don't have a yellow or an orange, so brown will have to be the color I use for those. Little red spark right there. Oops, hopefully that was on screen. Put another one down here. Put one down here, just a couple little blibbity blips. Maybe put another little red blip right up here. So we have all these different laser colors. The silver hair part behind the jacket. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with what you're referring to. The silver hair part? Silver hair part behind the jacket. I'm not sure. Oh, this part of the hair? Yeah, she has short hair, so this part will be erased. I roughed her in with long hair, but she will have short hair for this, because I'm going with the 90s version of Dazzler. So now a little bit of green. A little bit of green right over here. A little green down here. Now using brown. Now brown is not really what you'd consider a laser-like color, but, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. It's so close to the art right now. But this will work well for oranges or yellows that I definitely will be putting in there. The yellow will stand out against that. Or orange if I so desire. We'll see in the coloring stage. Oops, so sorry, gang. We're so close here. I forget one camera and what's not. My apologies. Okay, so now last will be pink. I'll put these all away after the broadcast. So now I've got the pink. Now pink for the main big burst here. And then pink down here as well. A few little ticks and tops and blips and blops. Just for detail there. So let's see. Okay, I did finish her belt. Good, good. Let's pull the camera back just a smidge. Get an overall look of Daz going on. All right, now let's take my Statler Mars plastic eraser. Just erase all the Dazzler lines here, see how she looks. Especially get that face cleaned out. Get rid of that hair there that won't be necessary. Kitty Pryde movie, how about Versus the Brood? Yeah, that could be great. That's when she met, that's when she got Lockheed, the dragon. Was when they were out in space fighting the Brood, if I remember correctly. Okay, let's kind of darken up the, oops, the headband there. There we go. There's Dazzler. Early 1990s Mojoverse Dazzler. Added to the X-Men group shot. Let's pull back so we can see the entirety of what we're working on. So gang, we are getting close. We are getting close. We just have Rogue and Gambit, Havoc, Psylocke. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 characters, and hopefully Polaris. Rachel Gray will be taken out because she was not Rachel Summers at the time. She was kind of written out of the X-Men books at that time, so she will be removed and either completely gone or replaced with another character. We'll see how things go. Maybe I could put Strong Guy back there. That would be fun. I love Strong Guy, and he's huge, and he could fill up that space nicely. But we'll see. We'll see when that time comes. Gang, I'm going to flip the camera around, do a little Q&A, see if I can catch some of the questions, address some of the questions I might have missed. So let me put the camera around, and let's chat. Gotta readjust Deadpool. No, Deadpool won't be in this one, unfortunately. There we go. Hey gang, let's get plugged back into the rig and readjust it there. Wasn't she an Excalibur? Yes, she was, but by the early 90s, her character had been written out and I think she took off into space or something like that. It's been a long time since I read Excalibur. So this area here is just shortly after Rachel Summers had left Excalibur. So that's kind of the era that I'm dealing with. Like Kitty Pryde is in her yellow with the shoulder pads, so definitely she wasn't wearing that when at the time when Rachel Gray had left. So what about a good bit of Dupe? Dupe is more of an early 2000s character, so no, Dupe will not be in this one. This is really like 1992 to 94 sort of era. Forge, Maggot, or Cecilia? No, I'm not going quite that era. No room for them at this time that I can see. At least no plans to at this time. So do you have any questions? I'll go back through here, see if there are any questions. Never heard of Strong Guy? Oh my goodness. Let's see. Be sure to check out, I believe he'll be in the latest New Mutant series that's on the way, led by Magic, Eliana Rasputin. I believe Strong Guy might be a part of that group. So yeah. Rachel got lost in the time stream and went to Cable's future where she found the Ascani. Thank you. Yes. Yes, that's what happened to her there in that time in the 1990s. Thank you. Is Mero 1990s? Yes, she is. How about Douglock? No Douglock. This is just before Douglock came back. Morph was part of the 1990s, but only in the cartoon. He was not a part of the X-Men comics. He was an Exile, the Exiles comic series. That's where they introduced Morph into the comics, but not in the 616 proper X-Men. Am I going to add Banshee? No. The characters that I mentioned, that I showed that I'd roughed out, Rogue, Gambit, Psylocke, Havoc, Polaris, those are the ones that I will be adding to this. All those other characters you mentioned, awesome suggestions, awesome characters. Unfortunately, I only have so much space here on this board. So what will go into the area left of Dazzler? Just some background. I will not try to force a character into there. Too small the space. It would just it would be too crowded if I tried to do that. Gambit's exploding cards. No exploding cards in this one. Not in this shot, unfortunately. Hey, Robson Inc. Hey, it's Will Robson, everybody. My friend from Marvel Comics. Great artist. Really cool guy. So good to see you, Will. Hope things are going well. Looking forward to seeing what you got coming up next, my friend. Let's see. Any other questions that I might have missed previously? Isn't that Longshot's jacket? Yeah, I guess. I don't know if it is technically, because Longshot's jacket didn't have that kind of collar. It's a Longshot style jacket. Longshot's star was on the other side of the chest. So it's kind of like this was back when Longshot and Dazzler were kind of married. Like, I don't know if it's like Mojo-verse level of marriage, but they were definitely a couple. They were going to have a kid. So I think it was like the Longshot family jacket, not Longshot's jacket proper. What about Shatterstar? No X-Force characters in this one. 1990s X-Force characters, no one in there like that. So no one like Cable, Cannonball, Boom Boom. Love all those characters. Maybe someday I'll do a 90s X-Force cover. But right now, as I said, the characters that I mentioned, those are the characters that will be on this cover. So, what will you draw when you finish this? Justice League versus the Avengers? That would be quite the undertaking, and you never know. Would you ever do Storm with the Morlocks when she was leader? I loved when Storm was leader of the Morlocks. That's when I started reading X-Men as a kid. She had just lost her powers during Life Death. Forge had taken away her powers. Yeah, so she was powerless when I started reading, or she had just lost her powers, and she was leader of the Morlocks. So yeah, I love Morlock era Storm. Let's see. Thanks for all the X-Men character suggestions. Would I draw Peter Pan sometime? Really interesting. That could be fun to do. That would be very different. That would be very different for me. So you never know. I could very well do a Peter Pan illustration sometime. What do I do as practice for drawing? Just drawing, just having fun. Just drawing on a daily basis is because it's so much fun for me. And you just continually honing the skills. Okay, I think I'm pretty much caught up with this. So we can go way back to see if there are any questions I might have missed. What are Dazzler's powers? That's a fun question. Dazzler's powers are she absorbs sound and then she redirects it out as light and lasers in different variations, from like a tight laser beam to a big like light burst. So yeah, and when she absorbs sounds, like she's pulling the sound out. So if she's like absorbing a lot of sound, people can't hear anything. So she has to be very careful how she absorbs the sound. So like was a musician, a pop star, and she would do her own light shows. So I guess she'd have to be very careful not to absorb all the sound of the music and songs. The music they were making and songs she was singing, otherwise the concert goers could not hear anything. So I'm not sure if they explained exactly how she could absorb the sound she needed to create the light show she would be doing for her concerts. Would I ever draw Gundam? I might someday. I don't know a lot about Gundam. I know what Gundam is. I'm familiar with it, but I just haven't experienced it a lot. So it doesn't something that holds a connection to me like the X-Men. Not to say I never would, because I do like giant robots. So you just never know. Let's see. Thanks for all the Copic tutorials. You have made a huge difference in your art, and you have rediscovered your art. Well, right on. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. How was the red carpet premiere of Black Panther? It was awesome. I got to go to the world premiere of Black Panther. Really enjoyed the movie. It's a really fun movie. It's not quite the same kind of fun of maybe like a Guardians movie or a Thor Ragnarok movie, but Black Panther is a different type of character than those characters. So the story is really different, or quite different. There were fun and funny moments to it, great action, a lot of heart and spirit to the movie. But you have to go in expecting a different movie than the more recent Marvel movies that have come out. So you gotta let Black Panther be Black Panther. It was really fun. Let's see. For Kitty Pryde's movie, who is the big bad you would like to see? How about Mr. Sinister? I love Mr. Sinister. That would be awesome. Someone had mentioned The Brood. That would be great. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have like one arch nemesis. Like Wolverine has Sabretooth, or Longshot has Mojo and Spiral, or Cyclops has Mr. Sinister. Definitely Mr. Sinister was key in Cyclops. I mean, he was the one that actually got Cyclops his ruby quartz glasses, we came to learn. So, I don't know if she has like one single bad guy, but dude, I love Mr. Sinister, Juggernaut, Apocalypse, but yo, come back to New Zealand sometime. I'd love it if Armageddon Expo would invite me back. I would definitely say yes. Which is stronger, adamantium or vibranium? Well, they haven't introduced the X-Men to the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. So right now, vibranium is the strongest metal in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the comics, I was always under the impression that adamantium was stronger than vibranium. Maybe they're both equally strong and just have different effects because vibranium has the whole sound thing to it. So they're two different types of metal. So I don't know if I can accurately say which is stronger, that vibranium or adamantium. But yeah. Kitty versus Emma. Yeah, Emma Frost. That would be, no, that's great. I really like that. Absolutely. Kitty versus Emma Frost. Hellfire Club. That would be the Hellfire School, the Hellfire Academy. That could be really interesting, especially if they go with a young teenage Kitty Pryde, which would be really cool. Do I like Spawn? I do enjoy Spawn. Yes, I don't really read the comic book. Haven't read it since the 1990s. Got a sneeze coming on. My apologies, gang. But visually, really cool looking character. Absolutely. All right. So I think I'm pretty much caught up on... Okay. Finding another question here or two. Do you know when the project will finally be announced? Can you ask them? Actually, my editor on one of my projects gave me an update that they will be that the publisher is planning on announcing one of my projects in mid-March. So we got about 6 weeks for one of these projects to be announced. Another project they plan on that I'm doing for another publisher. They plan on doing a special promotional thing. I can't really say what it is. I don't want to get ahead of my publisher, but they want to have these ready for the comic book conventions that the publisher will be at. So that could be as early as maybe Emerald City Comic Con, because I know that publisher will be there. So hopefully they'll have that promotional thing. All I can say is thing because I can't say what it is. I'm so excited about it. But hopefully we're getting close, gang. We're getting close to these projects being announced, and a major cover project I did, hopefully that will be announced soon. The colors had just been finished this week, and oh my gosh, so much fun stuff for 2018. At least I think it's fun. I'm having an awesome time with it all. Hopefully you will have an awesome time with it as well. Gang, thank you so much for hanging out with me. So glad we could get another X-Men added to the group shot here. Another one. So we're getting close to getting the line art done, gang. But we are close. As I said, we have Gambit and Rogue. Oops, let me get on screen. Gambit and Rogue, Havoc, Psylocke, most likely Polaris. And since I'm taking out Rachel Summers, I'm thinking of putting Strong Guy there at the very least. So we have 3 X-Factor characters amidst all the X-Men. And gosh, I only have two Excalibur characters, Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde. We're still Excalibur at that time. So, gang, we are not far from getting the line art work done. And then once all the line art's done, we start the Copic color videos. Hopefully I can do multiple characters in Copic color when I start doing that. So it won't, hopefully it'll only take half as many broadcasts to get all the Copic color done. But gang, I've got to sign off. Always appreciate hanging out with y'all. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll have the subscribe icon here pop up. I'll have more videos to see coming up right here that you can click on and watch. So stay tuned to these areas here. And hopefully y'all have a great weekend. Hopefully you enjoy the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl 52. Eagles versus Patriots. Who are you rooting for? Hopefully that'll be a really good game. That's what I'm hoping for, is a good game. My Dallas Cowboys didn't make it this year. Hopefully next year. It's a rebuilding season, whatever. So everybody, thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate all of your support. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe and set your notifications to just click on that little bell to notify you when I'm doing another live broadcast or posting more videos. Gang, see you real soon. Be sure to follow me on all my social networks. They'll be listed in the information of this video later on. And they're listed in all my videos. So you can just scroll down, click on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. Follow me on those places as well. Everybody, see you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.